When Ambassador Nicholas Kay stepped off the plane in Mogadishu at the start of his mission last week, he walked into one of the toughest jobs in diplomacy, helping steer Somalia from the world's most failed state to a stable, functioning country. Over the weekend, he had to deal with an outbreak of fighting in the volatile port city of Kismayo. African Union troops watched from the sidelines as 18 militiamen from rival clans died in the fighting. In Nairobi for talks about the crisis, Ambassador Kay explained why Kismayo is such a problem.
What's happening in Kismayo is largely, not exclusively, but largely a symptom of the fact that there is no agreed federal model. Somalis have not yet agreed amongst themselves what they mean by federalism and exactly how it would work. The provisional constitution says some of it, but some of it isn't clear.
But isn't this why Kismayo is so important? Because after all, what happens there will set a precedent for the relationship between Mogadishu and the rest of the country.
You're absolutely right. There is an interaction between the two, but until that all Somalia discussion happens and an agreement on their constitution, whatever happens in Kismayo has to be handled in a way which doesn't lead to the violence that we've seen over the last few days, and that allows Kismayo to operate, in a reasonable and responsible way.
Ambassador, you've taken on one of the most difficult jobs in diplomacy, in international diplomacy at the moment. How do you plan to approach the crisis in Somalia?
As I said, this mission is definitely a new mission. I mean, it is with the mission to do building. I mean, yes, there is still a political element and using our role and support in finding reconciliation and peace building, absolutely. But there is a whole other range of issues which we're going to be building up to do, which is, as I say, helping Somalia and Somali people to set themselves now on their feet in terms of reconstructing the country, building its own federal model, etc.
Much of Somalia is now relatively stable, but that doesn't mean it's safe. African Union troops and Somali forces have launched a security crackdown in Mogadishu to stop more bomb attacks. The recent fighting shows just how fragile that peace really is, and how much work the UN's diplomats still have ahead of them. Peter Greste, Al Jazeera, Nairobi.